Let's continue to work on this 16 by 20 portrait of Paul the Apostle praying. I want to show you how to continue to add these Caravaggio Chiaroscuro tenebristic glazes. And we're doing this in acrylic. So we're trying to emulate the style of Caravaggio in a sense. Even though he used oils, we're going to use acrylic. Now I'm just going to ask a quick blessing on this before I begin, and then we'll dive into the process. So Father, I ask that you would bless this painting. Help me to be able to do this with all excellence, be able to capture this drama here of Paul praying, and just to show the emotion, and that every brushstroke would contribute to that. Bless this painting, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I'm going to begin by taking my filbert brush, and I've got some raw umber dark, and then we're going to add some ultramarine blue to that. It looks like a little bit of phthalo blue as well. And then what we want to do is just complement that with a little bit of alizarin crimson. I'm going to create a nice dark value here, and I just want to continue to cut in with that. Have some brush strokes in the other direction, and we'll just kind of smooth things out a little bit with that. Okay, so a little bit of a cooler color. Get a little more alizarin crimson in there, and then we're just going to again kind of develop some of this black and just darken that up a little bit. And cut this around his clothing, and kind of let it fade into the clothing a little bit. I'll thin it out a bit and then cut it up around the edge, because there's a really nice strong contrast right here that I want to pull out. We'll continue the process. And I probably should switch to a little bit of a larger brush, because this one here is just a little too small for the job. Okay, we'll continue working this up. Get some brush strokes going in opposite directions. Okay, and then we'll just have these brush strokes going kind of diagonally here. Maybe have it just a little bit lighter as it gets toward the window. So I'm going to kind of fade it off at that point. And we already actually have it a little bit lighter from the previous glaze, so I can utilize that. And let this glaze go over his hair, and just kind of develop a little more shadow on his face. I'm trying to cut around the edge of his highlighted facial structure. Right, and then we'll just kind of smooth this out. So you can make your application of your glazes a little bit lighter just by using less pressure and having your paint distributed out more. So you're kind of thinning it out a little bit more as you go along. So that can make a difference too. And the glazing technique, you can see more about that on this channel, but it basically consists of just taking a little bit of paint and mixing it into this clear matte medium, and then you're actually making it translucent, and that builds up these wonderful effects of shading and depth that you just can't really achieve with opaque paint alone. All right, let's get back to this. So again, we're going to just blend this out. Might have to mix up a little more of this. Can have this maybe be just a little warmer in tone. Oh, that wasn't mixed all the way. Okay, we'll just kind of get that mixed a little bit more. So it's good to have a variety of colors here and really distribute the paint well that way. All right, so whereas I had some vertical brush strokes in the first layer, this one here we're doing some that are a little more diagonally and just kind of getting a little bit more variety through that. And we'll brush kind of horizontally just to smooth things out a bit. Cut up along the edge there of that pottery. Okay, and we'll get a little bit darker down here in the bottom. Yeah, we really want that to be quite dark there. Well, I guess it's a little lighter as it turns the form on that wrinkle. So I don't want it to be absolutely dark. And we just have a little bit of variety in these mixes, so it gives it some visual interest. All right, we'll add a little shading here to this pottery. There we go. And if you haven't picked up my free guide, Fix Muddy Skin Tones in Your Acrylic Portrait, be sure to get that free guide. That's going to help you in your portrait painting. I almost forgot to mention that. I normally mention it at the beginning, but I was just so excited to get into the painting process. I just dived in. But I do have that free guide for you, Fix Muddy Skin Tones in Your Acrylic Portrait. You can get that below in the description or the top link in the video. Or I should say the top comment in the video, and I'll be happy to send that to you to help you with one of the things that artists struggle with most. It's a handy PDF guide. You can print it out, set it up next to your canvas, and use that to help your skin tones to be more accurate. So just want to give that to you and just say thank you for watching this channel. It's my gift to you. All right, let's dive in here again. So I'm going to just increase the contrast on these shadows here on the bottom. Let's go right there. There we go. And we'll get a little more. Let's go up to his arm. I just want to blend in some of the shading here that we already started. Yeah, that's good. Just blend that a little bit more. And let's switch to our filbert brush, or we can kind of blend that in a little bit better. All right. So got a little bit of shading in here. And we just want to work that in. Darken this area a little bit up on top. This area in the interior, darken that a bit. All right. Oh, let's darken some of these shadows up on his face. We'll just zoom up there, and that's important to really begin to sculpt the form of his face by the strategic placement of some of these glazes. So We'll take that raw umber dark, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson. I think I have a little phthalo blue in there. It just got kind of mixed together on my palette. Unfortunately, the colors bled together, so I just had to kind of roll with it. We're just going to darken his hair a little bit right here. And just develop a little more shading on the side of his face. We'll just build this in a little bit, just increase the contrast. So we're going a little more opaque than what I usually go with this technique. And you know, I have to say I'm a little new to this. I'm just exploring and seeing what's possible. So you're just kind of going on this journey with me, and we'll see how it all works out. I think God will help me to finish it well. The question is am I doing this in the most efficient way? I'm not sure. But I'm just looking forward to enjoying the process and just, again, seeing what happens on this. Eventually I will want to put in some color glazes on top, and so that after we really kind of develop a little more of the value structure, we'll do that. And a little shading down here on the arm. All right, that's good. Darken this interior just a bit. Okay. Now, we want to just turn the form a little bit by bringing this glaze on his arm a little bit higher than the previous glaze. We overlap it and just kind of develop a little shading that way. So now, instead of it being, you know, just one flat kind of color, we've got a little bit of depth in there, which is good. Okay, let's do this. Let's go down to this scroll, this letter, and let's darken the shadow on the left-hand side and kind of work that into the rest of it, because I'm just noticing in the reference photo that this whole area is a little darker, and then we have a nice dark shadow right there. And we'll just kind of wipe the edge where it's going out of the lines. Yeah, we just need that dark edge there to really establish that contrast between the bottom of the scroll, the reflected light, and the cast shadow on the top plane, top surface. All right, and then let's go to the window and we'll establish a little bit of contrast up in here. We want to show, you know, the bars and everything, and just get a little bit of shading in there. So we'll do that. I have to keep in mind though there's some light shining through, so I don't want it to get too cool in tone. We'll add a little bit of alizarin crimson to this, just to warm it up a bit, maybe just a touch of burnt sienna. Okay, some alizarin crimson and burnt sienna. And we'll just take this all the way up here to the window. And just glaze over that a little bit. Just darken those bars. Maybe on the bottom, maybe a little bit in the middle. And then establish a little bit of shading here on the left where we can work in some of the background color into that, using slightly warmer colors because it just tends to work better for the warmth that we're going to have here in this area. Since we are going to have some, you know, reflected light from the outside going onto the bricks. We want to leave a little room for that and that warmth by using these warmer colors here. However, we could intersperse it with a couple of dark shadows as we pull from this darker part of the mix over here and just add that in. And I think that's important just to get a couple of those darker areas in there too. But in general, we want it to look quite warm and just, we're trying to symbolically portray that, God is listening to his prayers as he prays, and his light is actually up there, and can show that through some of the coloring here that we're doing. So I'm trying not to make all the lines even. I could just do a straight line, but I want some broken areas just to represent that there's some texture in here, and there's some crevices which are deeper and some that are more shallow, and just show those differences. And again, I think that just lends to the realism. And we can add a little bit of texture to this rock on the right hand side, and just imagine that there's a couple of bricks that stick out further than the others there. And I think that also helps too. You could bring down maybe, like the edge of some brick structure here. And I don't know, maybe it would be more like this, and we'd have part of the brick coming down. And that, I don't know how big the stones would be. It's not going to be like brick like you'd have in a house, but there would be some stones, and just want to portray those. Okay. All right, that's good. I think we're going to stop off here. So that's what we accomplished. We just kind of darkened the glaze a little bit more, made it a little richer. I'll be adding more to this painting and showing you the process as we go along. And I hope this has been encouraging to you, helpful. You can do this in your own portraits. You can do kind of a tenebristic glaze like we're doing here, and just building up some drama and depth in your portrait. So give it a shot, see how you like it. If you'd like to see more of my artwork and also my tips, tutorials, classes, go to realisticacrylic.com. I'd be happy to share with you there, and shoot me an email, keep in touch, or leave me a comment below in this video, and I'd be happy to answer your questions there. For now though, like, subscribe, share this channel with your friends, share this video with your friends, and look forward to seeing you on another video real soon. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.